former NBA player, Lawrence Vanderbrook, Mr. Fundy. We've done it with a couple of authors and Carlos. So super cool is the fathers who graduated the Father Factor program. They all got copies of Carlos's book and signed by the author. So that was a really personal touch that I know because I've heard firsthand from the guys graduating that program that just really meant a lot to them. So Carlos is going to talk about how he has expanded on his books, and I'm really excited because I think this is a gap that we have currently with the COVID pandemic, because you guys aren't in here. And then also, even when we come back to the jail, we still don't have that space of discussion we have this wonderful library, but we don't have a space where people can have like book groups or discussion, or if they have questions and they want to process that further. We do with our treatment and recovery workbooks, but I think this can be a supplemental resource for us. So I'm going to be quiet and unmute Carlos and let him take it from here. And if you guys have any questions, just unmute yourself. This is very informal. I just am muting everybody to kind of cut down on the feedback. All right, Carlos, you're up.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you, Kaz. I'm seeing the blue door back there. The jail still is looking the same. You know, I didn't think that I would miss the jail, man, but I'm missing the jail. You know, I haven't been in there in a while, right? It's good stuff, though. Jail's still looking the same, so good stuff. So just a brief synopsis about who I am and what the Starts Within organization does. Started it in 2011, like Kaz said, and the mission is to reduce the recidivism rate. We believe that it starts within. That means it starts within yourself and it starts within your current situation. So the whole idea is to go inside of the prisons and work and also inside of the jails and work with individuals before they get released, so we can work to shift that way of thinking, because ultimately it's the way of thinking that gets us in the places that we don't want to be. So we want to make sure that we get that accountability factor going so people can start to take responsibility of their situation so it can get them in the best place that they can possibly be. So just doing this since 2011, we've been able to graduate year-long classes and things like that inside of the prisons. We've also done different programming as far as presentations. All of this is to just, jolt that way of thinking, a shift in that paradigm to get them in that place where they start to say, you know what, I'm valuable and I got something to offer to society. I got something to offer to my family, and I'm willing to do the work to become the individual that I know that I can be. But the first thing that we got to do is get them to understand that they can be that individual, that they are important, that they are valuable, because a lot of times people who are in these situations, they've come up in broken households, and I'm sure everybody knows, they come up in broken households where they have been beaten down to where they start to think that they aren't worth much. And that's what you see a lot of times in the behavior. So when they say, man, I don't care and things like that, I dismiss it, because I know that they do. It's just that they really don't understand how to shift their life in a direction that is desirable. So instead of saying, I need help, they say, man, you know what, I don't care, and just embrace their current situation, even though they know that they want something different, but they just don't know how to get it. And when you come up in these broken households and these environments, one thing that you don't want to show is vulnerability. So it's difficult to show that vulnerability because a lot of times people exploit your weaknesses. People don't help you to strengthen your weakness, right? So people get accustomed to just putting on that hard shell and just continuing to just, thug their way through it and continue to be a drain and finding themselves in situations that they don't want to be. So how do I come here? How did I come here? How did I say that this is the work that's for me? I didn't say it. It chose me. And I've just been rocking and rolling ever since. So actually at 13 years old, I started selling drugs, and I was committed because I came up in a broken household as well, and I was committed to that philosophy, saying that selling drugs was the way that I was going to be able to get to my next level. And I adopted that philosophy from my environment. Everybody around me said that this is what you need to be, this is how you need to move, and I just believed it. And at 19 years old, I was excited. I was about to be a father. And then my son, he was actually born in May. And I was excited to be a father, ready to take on that responsibility of being a father. And 3 months after that, I actually got incarcerated to a 10-year prison sentence because of my involvement in the streets. I got incarcerated for attempted murder, possession of drugs, drug trafficking, and possession of firearms. Now, I had to go away and do 10 years. So I'm saying that, you know what, this is crazy. So Shelly and Cindy, I think that you would be happy to know that I'm Marion too. Well, not actually Marion, but I was in Marion Correctional Institution. So I didn't actually was born and raised in Marion, but hey, that's when the new me got developed, was in Marion Correctional. So you got another Marion guy on the phone call, right? I'm actually born and raised in Oberlin, Ohio, in Northeast Ohio, but the new me was born in Marion Correctional Institution. Now that's when I came to the understanding, and I said, man, you know what? I don't want to be this guy who's serving penitentiary time after the 10 years, because my son is going to grow up and be an adult, and I don't want him to be an adult that gets incarcerated too as well and serve penitentiary time in a later time. So that's what started to drive me and say, I need to go ahead and find some additional information to combat the information that I was currently operating off of. So I was just committed, and I got into scripture, and I started to just dive into the scripture. I wasn't raised in church at all. I didn't know anything about church. I didn't know what Christmas was for. I just thought it was about gifts. I didn't know what Easter was for. I just thought that it was about, man, the Easter eggs and Easter baskets and jelly beans, right? That's what I thought. My household, my father raised me and my brother, and we never did discuss religion. So when I got inside of prison, I said that, man, you know what? I need to find some different type of information, because this information that I had been working with is information that put me in a bogus place. I was honest with myself, and I say that this was right next door to hell. This is close to death, and I don't want to be here, and I don't care how people make it seem like it's okay. I said, man, you know what? I'm not okay with it. Now, I started to put in the work, and that's me getting that information. And after I started to dive into the scripture, I then got into business management for a Marion Technical College, graduated with a 3.83 GPA, and then I also got into administrative office technology for vocational training. So I just was getting everything that I needed to get so I can be that father that I needed to be for my son. And I wasn't so reliant on just people taking it easy on me. And I felt like that I really had to correct the errors in my ways in order to be able to be successful. I didn't think that people were going to overlook all of my errors in my thinking. So then that's why I was so committed to correcting those errors in my thinking and doing the work. And I did that for the 10 years. And people were saying, Carlos, man, ain't nobody gonna respect that when you get released, man. You, man, doing college, you into scripture, you doing all of this work. And when you get released, man, it ain't gonna be no opportunities for you. You gonna get reincarcerated. You gonna get right back into the game. And you know you got connections. You know you got, man, people who can put you on with a lot of, supply. Because I had a name established inside of the streets, and I still had that influence, but I was so committed. And I said, man, I'm not doing that, because I cannot afford to be away from my son another day, right? Another day is too long. And I was just serious about it. So I did the time in 2007. I got released. And when I got released, I started to apply everything that I had built up. And that is the foundation. And just having that philosophy that's going to put me in a premier place. I got a minimum wage job for $6.85 an hour. And I worked it like it was $40 an hour because I was on solid foundation. I said that I will not sell drugs ever again. It's no compromise in that. And I said that I'm going to build myself up right now. And I told myself, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So I said, man, let me go ahead and get this $6.85 an hour job, because one thing that I do know is that I can't get incarcerated by working a $6.85 an hour job. So I was able to apply myself inside of that employment. I got a better job. I then got a better job. And now where you see me, I'm running my own organization. I've been able to raise my son, who was 10 years old when I came home. His mother said, man, I'm going to go ahead and sign residential custody over to you so you can raise him to be a man, because I believe that he's starting to gravitate towards the same streets that got you incarcerated. So I was willing to take that on. I raised my son. He graduated at 18 years old from Westerville South. He went on to college. He didn't stay, but he did go. And right now he's working. He's married. He has a child. So I'm a grandfather too as well, right? So yeah, I'm a grandfather, but I have him call me Pop.
Grandpa,
right?
I
Right.
didn't know that.
Don't call me Grandpa though, Kaz, right? Not Grandpa.
Continue.
Right. Right. Just a beautiful thing though. So just to be able to see my son just overcoming the odds. And the reason why I say he's overcoming the odds, because, statistically speaking, when you have a parent who is incarcerated, you too should get incarcerated when you become an adult, right? My mother was incarcerated when I was younger, right? So me and my brother, we both got incarcerated, statistically speaking. So what happened was that by me making that decision to evolve and become that person that I needed to be, I was able to break the cycle with my son, because he adopted the mentality that I have and not the mentality that I had that got me incarcerated. And that's the next level. And I also had two more children after my son. So I got a 12-year-old son, and I have him 5 days of the week. He goes to his mother on the weekends. And I also have my daughter. She's 5 years old, and she runs the household. She is bossy. She controls. She's so controlling, right? It is what it is, man. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So, but I got her week on, week off. So I'm a full-time dad. And it's exciting. And what's more exciting now is that by collaborating with Cass and Delaware County Jail and the prisons and all of the facilities, I've been able to help other people who are in my position that I was in, see how they can get to where I'm at. And it's so inspiring because I give them the jewels that they need. It's literally point A to point B to point C. This is how you get it done. And when they find that direction, that's when they become truly motivated. And that's what it's all about. So all of the material that I develop, the programs that I develop, it's all about how to get it done. Everything that I talk about is always how to. I let people know I don't want to be the only one who has been able to overcome this, right? I want other people. I have a sincere desire for this story to be duplicated, because it can. And the only way that it can be duplicated is if it's a shift in the paradigm. It has to be a shift in the way of thinking. And if we can change the direction of a person's thinking, then their destination will change. Their destination will not change they will not reach that destination overnight, but they can change their direction overnight. One word can change the direction. And that's what the programming is all about. So when I write my books, I've written 3 books. Prison Without Bars, It Starts Within. And that is strictly about how do you overcome the mentality that gets you incarcerated. and what are the challenges that you are going to face in overcoming that mentality, the things that you got to do to be able to get yourself in the place that you want to be, and letting them know that it starts within. That means that you got to come into agreement, you got to come into alignment, the work that needs to be done, how to get that work done. That's what Prison Without Bars is about. I call that the foundation. That means that that's where it all starts at. And that is when I was in prison and how I was able to become free while I was in prison. How was I able to get that done? All of that is inside of Prison Without Bars in the tune of about 63 pages, right? I didn't write the book. The moon glistened off of the concrete in the wintry night. I didn't write it like that. It's strictly to the point in a language that can be received by the actual population. So when they read it, they really gravitate to the message. And this is what makes it so beautiful. And with the walking logo is Taking Back My Life, Volume 2. And that is actually the house that you build on that foundation. So that is me transitioning back into society. The challenges that I faced when I was transitioning back into society, some of the errors that I committed when I was transitioning back into society, because let's be honest, I've been divorced, right? So then it had to be something that was wrong in my thinking for me to end up with a divorce. I share that in the book, so then other people don't end up in a divorce too. So I allow my failures to be a teacher for them before they even approach it. And that's the beautiful thing about it. I've been home for 13 and a half years, so during that 13 and a half years that I've been released, I've been able to get some real live jewels that can benefit them in the realest of ways. How to establish your credit, how to open up a checking account, how to get a shared parenting plan with your children, literally how to go down to the juvenile courts and get you a shared parenting plan, so you're not arguing with the mother of your children to parent your children. Just real stuff is inside of the walking logo, Taking Back My Life, Volume 2, and also relational stuff. How to really start to ask the questions, the conversations that need to be had when you are about to start a relationship. Because like so many people who get released, when I got released from prison, I was like, man, after doing 10 years, I'm going to be honest, man, I was trying to get into a relationship fast and I didn't take no time. I said, man, let's go ahead and make it happen, man. I met my soon-to-be wife and 3 months later we was moving together. I didn't waste no time. And I say, man, and then we was soon to have my second son at that time, so I didn't waste no time. So what I talk about in the book is how you might want to take your time, right? Because that got me into a divorce by just rushing into it and not really asking all of the questions that need to be asked to see if we are on the same page. So that's in the Walking Logo Volume 2. And now the newest book is The Greatest Responsibility: Becoming the Parent Your Child Deserves. Now, when Starts Within and Delaware, we connected, it was up under Action for Children through me facilitating the Father Factor program. So I've been teaching parenting courses since 2013. It's in me. And the thing about it is, the same thing that I teach, I actually have the ability to be able to apply it to my actual parenting and see the results. So when I'm teaching it, you can just feel the energy, because I really do believe it, because I'm seeing the results and I'm so excited to give people results that I know that they are going to be grateful for. So when I'm presenting, I'm always energetic and just serious about it, because to me, it's going to take them to the next level. And the greatest responsibility is just about establishing a strong relationship with your children so you can have that influence that you desire, so then they can be in a place that they want to be when they become adults. And that's what it's all about. So with that being said, now let's get into the interactive audio program. I'm excited about this. And this is what was born out of the pandemic, right? So right in the pandemic, it forced me to start to really think about, man, how can I still do the work? How can I still impact people in the way that I know that I have been designed to impact people? This is my calling. So when it's your calling, you'll be given ideas. And the idea that I was giving was what? It's saying, man, Carlos, you know what? Let's go ahead and turn your books into a program. Since it's a how-to book, let's turn it into a program so we can go ahead and bring that book to life. And I said, absolutely right. So I got to work. The first thing that I did is I called up my videographer and I said, man, you know what? I need to start filming. I want to be on video and I want to film me talking about the book. So what I started to do is I said that I'm going to read sections of the book, and so each chapter is going to be a session. And I'm going to read the chapter in the book, and then I'm going to put a bookmark in there, and I'm going to stop right there, and then I'm going to discuss what I've actually read. So it brings more clarity to what was written in the book, so then they can get a true understanding of what it is in the book. Because like I'm sure that you guys know, people read books all day long, but they might not really get a true understanding of the book. So then they'll read the content, they'll get through the book, and then they might still miss some of the things that were in the book. Well, this is what the interactive audio DVD is for. This program is designed to make the book even more clearer so then they can have that understanding and they can apply it to their life. Remember, one word can change the direction of a person's life. So if they start to believe, because they got a better understanding of what it is and how to get that done, now we have some success here. This is basically it's taking up a lot of the weight in the programming. So now you can just facilitate it in a way to where you can rely on the actual DVD with me speaking. Just like I'm speaking now with the energy, and I'm telling you, I'm more energetic on the video because we're talking about some more stuff. But I'm energetic now, but on the video, I'm sweating, and you can see it. It's like, it's crazy. And I admit that I was sweating on the video, but that's how tuned in I am on that interactive audio DVD, because that's something that get the guys when I come inside of the jail. And Russ and Sheriff Martin, he was able to see how the guys responded, right? When you show them that level of passion, when you show them that level of seriousness, when you let them know that you are not playing about their development, you are not playing about their success, they respond to it in a beautiful way. And then they are able to receive the information that you got to give them. Now, what is the information that I'm giving them? We already discussed it. It's not no information that all of us on this phone call understand that is not needed. We all know that it's needed. Everybody know that it's needed to be successful. But the issue is getting it to the people in the way that they need to get it. So then that's what it's all about. So now I'm able to give them that information. The interactive audio DVD, it brings the books to life. So that's what happens. Each book is about 8 sessions. It's 6 to 8 sessions long, to where the idea is that you'll have them reading the chapter in the book, and then they'll complete the correlating chapter in the workbook, because I've created a workbook that goes with the book. And then once they do that, now they will be required to look at the interactive audio DVD talking about that same chapter. So now what does that do? Repetition is everything. When you continue to hear something over and over again, what does that do? It locks it into your thinking, and it changed the way that you do things, right? So then that's the reason.
Yeah. Hey, Carlos, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So is the purpose of the interactive video or this process to help others become facilitators of the Father Factor program that you've developed?
Right.
So it's to help other people lead groups or small groups. Is that what I hear you saying?
Right. So yeah. So the idea, I talked to Cash yesterday, and this is not just Father Factor. This is all three of the books. So it's the Prison Without Bars. It's the Walking Logo. All of that is a program, and then you got the parenting piece too as well from the Greatest Responsibility. That's the parenting program, right?
So my question is, I'm not sure about in the jail, but I know in other services that we do, we have a lot of peer support services.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
we do a lot of peer support groups. So people who have lived and lived experiences are doing groups with other people who are in some sort of recovery from severe and persistent mental illness, substance use disorders, criminal history, incarceration, those kinds of things. So would this also be appropriate for peer support or peer-led groups then? Is that what I'm hearing?
You absolutely are. You are spot on.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it will be able to give them the content that they would need to be able to lead the group. So now what would happen is that after they would be responsible for the group, they can go ahead and require the people to read the chapter and then do the correlating chapter in the workbook. And then when they show the video of me reading part of the book and then speaking about that too as well, about the concepts that's in the book, now what would be on that peer specialist, which Cass said that I was. She said I'm the peer specialist. So what would be on this peer specialist would be to just have a group discussion and just ask them what understanding have they gotten from that particular chapter, from looking at the video, from reading the chapter, from doing the workbook. So for instance, if we talked about in chapter 4 on Prison Without Bars, identify success, now that would be a part of the discussion. When you start to ask them, well, what is success to you now? Because that's what I challenge inside of that chapter. Because when I was 13, I believed that success was just having a lot of money, until I realized when I was inside a prison that money didn't equal success, because I missed my son. I missed quality relationships. I missed that, and I started to really put into perspective what success truly was. So now I can really form a true level of success.
So the part 2 of my question then, this would certainly be applicable for post-release individuals. So if we wanted to form a peer support group, such as Wink Wink James has talked about doing a post-release support network, this would be ideal to have in place for that context.
Absolutely. Especially with the volume 2 Walking Logo, because I'm talking about real things that they are going to encounter. I'm giving them my real feelings that I had during the times when I was transitioning, and how I dealt with those feelings. How was I able to overcome those challenges that I was facing? And I'm having that conversation on camera, literally, and that's what takes it to another level. So not only do you read it, but then you have the ability to be right there with me. I mean, I'm an advocate for YouTube. I'm on YouTube. TD Jakes doesn't know that he is my mentor. I look at him all the time. When you hear my delivery, my message, you can hear some of TD Jakes inside of there. I've never met him before in life, but
You're channeling him.
Right. But it's still influential. And this is the idea with the interactive audio DVD. That means that they will be able to connect with me through that DVD, and it can make that impact that needs to be made. Only thing that we need to do is change the direction of their thinking, and we are golden, right? So then that's what we are able to do with that. But it would be premier to have a peer specialist to lead the group, because the content is there and they would be able to really lead the group well. But also case managers can lead it, volunteers can lead it, because it's really taking a lot of the lift. It's taking the heavy lift of delivering the content, especially with the video. So, but that would be ideal though, is just to lead the conversations, just to ask them.
so many implications.
Right.
So many implications.
Absolutely. So that's what Cass, she was trying to figure out for me to get into the jail. She said, man, I need to hire you into the jail and I need to have you in here all the time. And it couldn't fit with my schedule. But now I'm like, guess what, man, the video can be there all the time, right? It can be there all the time. And one thing that I talked, and it was the best analogy that I can come up with yesterday when not yesterday, but Monday when I was talking to Cass and Russ. I said that, man, you know what? This right here, the interactive audio DVD, it is similar to you having a favorite song or just a song that you already like that's playing on the radio and you like it. And then after that, you have the ability to be able to hear the artist who performed the song explain the messages that they are trying to translate in that song so you can have a better clarity. Now, when you listen to that song after that, now that song is going to have a whole different meaning because now you're going to have a clearer understanding of that song because now you're like, wow, I was digging it before, but now I really like it now because now I got a true understanding of what that artist was trying to translate in that song. That's what I'm doing with the interactive audio DVD. I'm translating the messages that I'm bringing to life, the messages that I was trying to translate inside of the books. And the books have been impactful just by themselves. I just seen somebody come from Delaware County Jail at the gas station. And I remember my son, he says, my 12-year-old, he said, Dad, man, you a celebrity. And I said, man, this is crazy. That's what a Delaware that made me into a celebrity. They come and they see me at the gas station. They say, Carlos, man, I had your book. Man, I'm telling you, that book was phenomenal, man. Prison Without Bars, the walking logo. Man, I had both of those books, man. That was my everything. And when he said that, I was like, wow. But that's not an isolated event, and I kid you not. This is what I've been given. This is my assignment, and I take it serious. And I'm just serious about, man, changing the way that the world is by actually changing the minds that's inside of the world that's corrupting the world. I think that that's the best way to get it done. So people can become fathers and mothers and then children become strong adults. And then we don't have all of this mess that's going on in the world. That's my idea. And that's my vision. So then that's why I'm so committed to continuing to develop the product to be able to get that done. Oh, and with all of that, with the kit also comes it comes a certificate that you can print out, and it'll have my signature on it, and it'll have a place for you to be able to sign, or the peer specialist to be able to sign on that certificate as well. It'll also have a flyer. If you need flyers, it'll have a marketing flyer that you'll be able to print out and get people to sign up as well, and also a program evaluation form that they will be able to fill out after it is complete, so you can see the learning has taken place.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Does anybody have any other questions? My thought was, let's use this time that we have Carlos to ask any questions, and then we can carve out some time maybe later in the week to talk further about interest moving forward, how to bring this into Link program and all that stuff.
Well, you answered my questions very well. Thank you so much. And I just have to say that this has been your enthusiasm and your investment.
Well, that sounds like a Cleveland Brown in the background. I'm telling you, that's what it's.
So sorry, that's the downside of working from home.
Right.
I started to say that your enthusiasm and your obvious investment is quite contagious and quite a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
During this time when everyone is sort of scrambling to figure out how can we continue to reach our clients, how can we continue to check in with our clients, and we are in this sense of isolation and non-face-to-face kinds of things. So I want to say thank you for bringing that to the table today. It absolutely is contagious, and I appreciate your spirit. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
I appreciate you, Cindy.
Yes, thank you. I am such a fan of Carlos, and I've read all the books, so I know the content. And I remember one of our first conversations when I called you a peer specialist, but I was like, are you studying behavioral health? Because you have all the foundation of thinking errors and cognitive behavioral therapy and motivational interview. It's just built into who you are. Wow. And you hadn't even done the clinical study route yet. Right. So I thank you for your work, for your commitment. I learned from you. I'm excited for me to improve through this audio. I had the absolute pleasure of sitting in on your father factor groups, and anybody I could bring into those groups, including the sheriff, I said, you've got to see this. Right. The father factor program is wonderful in itself, but it's the facilitator, his ability to, I kid you not, it's never happened, and it's not anything on anybody on this call because it hasn't happened in any group I've ran either, but nobody spoke. And everybody leaned in and they listened. And I was like, how do we get that? We need that. And then afterwards, I want to talk to Carlos. Can I have Carlos's number? How do I get connected to Carlos? I mean, the inmate requests would pour in. It was overwhelming. So this is so exciting that since you won't work for us, we can have you on video and be able to kind of have a virtual co-facilitation style. I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's a win-win situation, Kaz. Absolutely right. Absolutely right, man. I'm excited too as well, Kaz. Like I said, I always say, man, I just appreciate the support and being able to see and identify, the gifts that I've been given, because this is stuff that's been blessed to me to address issues that I believe that plagues our communities. And I just appreciate just being that partner in that, and you have, so I appreciate that, I appreciate that. And we're going to get rocking and rolling. I'm telling you, this is going to be something that's going to add value to what we are already doing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, let's get it to the people. Let's feed the people, right? Let's feed the people. And I'm excited, I'm excited. So we rocking and rolling.
Thank you so much.
I really like you using the word feed the people, because there are absolutely people out there that are hungry for direction, hungry for purpose, hungry for, what life could be.
Absolutely.
I've run into lots of guys both at the jail and also out of Marysville at the CBCF, who've gone through Father Factor. It gets them fired up and gets them a vision, that's something the impossible in their lives that they didn't have before. So right. It's part vision and part skills.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Very good.
All right. Thank you, Carlos. We will be in touch.
All right. Sounds good. Let's get it together.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. See y'all, everyone.
All right.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that was good stuff, man. So, in explaining the interactive audio DVD, that new program that I'm coming out with, that's just bringing my books to life. This is what it's all about, man. Continuing to do the work, continuing to develop, man, new stuff to get the job done. that's what it's about, man. And that was right there. That was on one of the county jails that I'm gonna be working with, you know, just getting it done. So I just did a presentation for, you know, the staff that's going to be implementing the programming. All right, y'all know what it is. Turn the penitentiary on its head, stay in the community on its feet in the realest of ways. Peace.